Some people are right, some people, but to me, this is one of those points where you're going to get a short-term buy if, as far as if you look at the weekly. At the
Yeah,
same time, there's major buys, fat pips,
right.
then it's going to give that sell. And the reason that's going to work the way that works is because people look at it this right now and think, oh, it's a sell. Well, then
Yeah,
they get it hits their stop loss, and they
yeah,
think, oh, it's going up, so they get in buys, and then that major sell happens, and they get fucked and hit their stop loss.
yeah, and just liquidate everyone. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we'll just have to let it see and play out. I mean, it's protected. I told everyone that took the trade to protect their entry already. You know, we're sitting at 80 something pips in profit right now. It really, if it breaks this trend line zone, I mean, it's pretty much dead anyways. So, you know, I would even be open to protecting like 30, 40 pips just so we bag something out of it. Like if we took it to like, yeah, 40 pips, which is right there, that still gives it plenty of room for it to come down and break that. And if it's going to fake out and then continue climbing up, we're not going to get stopped out. And if we do get stopped out, you know, we bagged 40 pips off the trade, which is, you know, the normal trades that we call anyways. So
Right.
we'll just have to wait and see what it does. But I like it. I like it long only on the higher time frames. Like on the daily, it looks really good on the daily. But like you said, we've got that continuation divergence for the short from our previous significant high to our previous high. You know, there's definitely some continuation divergence there. Plus, if you're out on the daily, you know, we've got all of our bands above. So we'll zoom in a little bit more, stretch this guy up. We've got all of our bands above, and now it started to climb back out. So we could still, you know, maybe see a little push up and then it really push down to the other side. But again, there's no way to predict it. So
And
Yeah.
another thing to look at too is go to like the 1 hour.
yeah, that's where we started at because it's looking
So
good.
this the trend line down that it's riding underneath
Uh-huh.
across the whole range there. It's a pretty nice trend line. I have a trend zone on it, but I
Uh-huh.
mean, mine's personally got 10 plus touches.
Uh-huh. Which
That
weak.
trend channel. Say what?
Which is weak, like weakening, like
Right, yeah. And so if we can get a break above that, then that's gonna make us like way more confident in these buys and like in
Right. That's what I was gonna say. The smartest thing is hands down wait for the breakout.
yeah,
Because it's in all honesty, it's nasty looking right now on the 4 hour especially. I
yeah,
mean, it's been go to the 4 hour really quick. Zoom in just a little bit. Like that whole range that it's been in for the last how many weeks?
yeah.
It's just gross.
And then
But
we got, you know, everyone's like, you know, oh, support, support. We got a double bottom, you know, and then this big fuck you
right. And
straight through.
like that was a big that's why I'm like, I don't know, bro, because I gotta see a break of that resistance because on those smaller time frames, it's technically in a downtrend now.
Yeah,
So I gotta see breaks of previous highs to be bullish bias. I just have to. Especially like I mean, because that's where I'm gonna enter in for the long term play is when I get breaks above that.
yeah,
I'm trying to there used to be a way to draw on Zoom. I was gonna show something. I'm not super familiar. I've not traded Forex pairs in forever. I've been NAS and US 30 and pretty
Yeah,
much it.
indice man.
But that heavy drop there from like the highest point you see on your chart now,
yeah,
and then you've got like one, two, three, those four big candles down, right?
yeah,
A lot of times, like on indices, I've seen a move like that, and then it channels up into a flag. So what it's doing, like it is right now,
yeah,
and then it's gonna make a move up equivalent to that move down it made, um, as like a corrective move. Because in the indices, you see a lot of V's, right?
yeah,
So like I feel like that's a high possibility there with the setup we have right
yeah,
now at GU. And the entry that you gave as a signal is more of just an aggressive entry,
Yeah,
but
that's all it
in
is aggressive.
profit, it's protected. So
yeah,
now the way I look at it is, okay, it comes down and tags us out, or we break above that
Break and you're in.
channel I was talking about on like the 1 hour, that break that Jamal's looking for, and
yeah,
then we get positions.
exactly.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with being in now. Buy low, sell high.
Yeah.
That's what was called. Like it was the best possible risk to reward opportunity. You know what I mean? So
From where the entry was, it was only in 8 pips of drawdown the entire time.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, who cares even if it was wrong? Like, that's
Right.
where you need to enter.
That was our drawdown. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I called it here. Or was it here? I don't remember. It was somewhere right in this area. It's either one of these touches or this touch. I can't remember.
I think you
Uh,
called it as a buy limit, actually.
yeah. Well, not. I guess yeah. You could have done it a buy limit. I just said once it reaches that level, then I'm going to take my entry. Uh,
Right.
and then, it's. I mean, no drawdown, hardly at all. And then now it got up to 120 something pips of profit, and now it's just kind of floating across right here. But we, got another bounce. We're bouncing right now on that trend line zone. Oh shit. There we go. So we'll just have to see what happens here. If it breaks short, I'm gonna probably be looking to kill it. The only thing that would maybe keep me in is, we've never had a proper retest of that structure right there. Oh shit. This position tool is annoying. I wish you could lock it and like not touch it. Like if you
Oh shit. So is this the new carbon like trading view that you're trading on?
no, this is just trading view.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm gonna transition to that. I put 12 grand in an account to just play around with it. The only thing I don't like is it doesn't have the third party indicators. So I don't have my sessions tool, which is what I call all my signals on. So um, we'll just have to get that built in there.
Got it in.
Mhm. But yeah, I mean, we're a fifth of the way there. We'll see what happens.
Have you looked at UJ recently, Zach?
I haven't. I'm gonna just go straight down. We'll start with the Dixie and then UJ is second. With the Dixie right now, go back out to the daily. Jamal and I were just talking about this. It's just really gross right now.
I think that's why everything is just kind of consolidating.
Yeah. So, it could go one of two ways. We're beneath the 50 now. We're trending heavily beneath the 50, not just like a little break beneath it. Like we are under the 50. So I could see it pushing back up and retesting this resistance level and also bouncing the 50 and then continuing short, which would be really good for the setup on GU because if the dollar is going to continue going short, then our GU trade is going to continue going long. But it could do either or, like right where it's at, it could just go ahead and continue down to tag our trend line here, and then we see a bounce, or it could just go ahead and start making that climb up and either stop at the 50, or it could climb out and touch our trend line and then continue down. So it's just in a really weird spot right now. So depending on what this does, it's gonna tell all for how we're gonna move forward. We just need to see some action. And if you look at the candle that happened the day before yesterday, we had a lot of bullish momentum. We've got engulfing on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 9 candles. So almost 9 days that one candle engulfed. Which is, pretty big for the dollar, especially through this nasty little downwards range through the holidays. So I don't know. Just have to let her do her thing.
Let me show something really quick with it too.
Yeah.
Just what I'm looking at.
Go ahead.
I think I think you have to unshare. Can you see my screen?
I've got it where multiple people can.
Oh, okay. This is how I have it on the 4 hour. This
Oh,
is the only thing I'm do what?
I was like, oh yeah. When were we talking about that before?
Yeah. This is just kind of what I'm looking at. Like I agree with Zach on this larger time frame view. Like it's just kind of gross. We don't know one way or the other. But I like to watch the 4 hour. Mainly it's like the time frame I'll make decisions on based on larger time frames. I view this as broken with a strong momentum candle through. Rejected the previous highs here, and we're currently sitting right on top of the 618. So I want to see how this plays out because this technically is a setup that could go to TP2, which what Zach said on the daily would just go ahead and go up to test his 50 moving average or that trend zone that he had drawn up. So this is just what I'm keeping an eye out on the lower time frame. If I get back below this area right here, I think that these lows could probably get taken out to Zach's point, which would make GU go to TP. But I'm going to see how this plays out right here. Technically, right now, I mean, you really could be in this trade. If you wanted to wait for a little retest to get in, I mean, hold on one second. I want to right, and just have your stops below the lows. I would target TP1 personally. If I were to get in that trade, I wouldn't get in it right now. I would want it to come back down, maybe test the trend zone one more time. Like if it pulls back into this zone again, I wouldn't actually trade this, but if it was a pair, if it gets back into this zone again down here and it shows some sort of like if it were to come back in here and maybe wick past this, but we're extremely divergent, I would be considering I would be considering the Dixie to be long back up to the previous high. But we'll see. So that's just kind of what I'm watching pan out on the 4 hour.
Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about trading. It's 50-50.
It really is. And honestly, the best thing to do, like to the point that TJ brought up where I said a minute ago, I'm like waiting for that break on GU. 90% of it is just being patient.
Yep.
It's just being patient. It's hard to be wrong if you wait until it's right.
Yeah.
Like I didn't do today.
And then, well, yeah, I mean the news also,
Oh, that thing clapped as soon as that dropped. I
so,
mean, it wasted no time. I was like, all right, then.
we're making up for it with the GU though.
Yeah.
And
It was 18 pips.
Yeah, fuck it, negligible. And UJ again, it's cyclical to the Dixie. The charts look identical. We've been trending above the 50 for fucking ever. Again, this is the daily, so from back in January of 2021 is when we climbed out on top of it, and we've been above the 50 the entire time. So it's just now underneath the 50. So we've got multiple legs of lower lows with volume creating higher lows, and all of our bands are under the 50, the midline here. So I could easily see it retracing, just like I could see it doing on the Dixie, back up to this level of resistance. And by that point, the 50 MA should start bending around to this area as well, before we see our next push down, just like on the Dixie, pushing up, hitting the 50, hitting that resistance level before it continues down. But it's just kind of both of them. They're just in no man's land right now. It's, we got to wait and see, which way it's going to break. And then you could also argue the point, okay, well, we've got this pretty significant level. We've got a bunch of rejection here. We've got a bounce here, a bounce here, a bounce here. And then it bounced here, and now it's bouncing it again. So it's like, this could be considered a level support, and we're going to start climbing out of it. But, it's just done it so many times. I just don't think it's very strong or valid. So I could, in my opinion, I think we're going to see something like that right there. But we'll just have to, wait and see how it forms up. And then Euro USD, I wish so fucking badly we would have just called a sell, just like we talked about on the call on Sunday. We should have just taken the fucking sell. I even had it marked up. I put this entry line from when we were on that call on Sunday. I mean, look at this thing. It literally that night it just melted. And had we taken that, $11 pips, oh, hold on, right there, 14 pips of drawdown, and it was up 185 pips. I hate trading on Sundays. I hate calling trades on Sundays. I just don't like Sundays. And, that's the price you pay trying to be patient. But yeah, I mean, Same thing. We broke our rising wedge pattern. We retested. We actually made a higher high, but our volume made a lower high. So from our previous high to our current high, we had continuation divergence off of that major level of resistance after we broke outside of our rising wedge pattern. And, I think it's coming straight down to this trend line zone and the 50. Again, we've been above the fit, or actually here, we'll zoom out even more. All we've been doing is trending under the 50, under the 50, under the 50, under the 50. A couple times it'll break out above it, and then it crashes right back beneath. We broke above it, came back beneath. Broke above it, came back beneath. We are officially like actually trending above the 50 now. So obviously we're due for a pullback. And maybe even this trend line zone could be drawn even more slope this way so that our retracement comes down to the 50 or the 618. There's just no structure that I like to draw it to like that. So and then moving averages are just dynamic forms of support and resistance. So they're not linear like a zone or for your resistance or support levels. But there's a reason why your moving averages line up around those same areas. For example, where price retested the 50, it just so happens to be our level of horizontal resistance there as well. And the same thing when price broke above it and came back and retested right here. If you look left, that's a pretty good level for price to come back and retouched. It's tested to that area multiple times. So when you start seeing your moving average bend over like that, it's not pitched in one direction. It starts bending like it did back here. We weren't sloped down. It started bending horizontally, just like it is here. We should see a retracement to that level and then find some support and continue long. Or we break all of this structure and continue short. Go ahead.
I wanted to go over it as well because I agree. I just wanted to show them a couple things, and then I wanted to go back to you, Jay, really quick because I wanted to say something on that as well. I know you said you didn't really like. He mentioned you didn't really like the structure right there. I do have this zone right here for anybody that wanted to market. Oh, I'm not sharing.
Nope.
Damn. Cool. This is the daily. Can you see it?
Yep.
All right. So I do have a zone right here as a potential place that I think that we could see hit going off of this touch here that was broken, tapped, broken, tapped.
Yeah.
I think this is a pretty significant area. When I turn on my other moving averages, the 200 kind of lines up right in it.
Perfect.
So the break retest at 200. But here's what I think will happen first, personally. If you go down to the 1 hour, let me turn these back off. So see how we see, well, it could happen actually right now, now that I look at it. Because I didn't have these on when I was looking at it. I looked at this flag broken, right, off of this structure. And I think that it could possibly go up and test the underneath of this zone. This zone here that was broken. So we would either see a continuation after this bullish 4 hour close here up to this area and then it sells off, or you're going to see it right now because you have.
Yeah, it didn't break. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think we may see a little more push because of this wick right here. I wouldn't consider that one. But once we get beneath this here for sure, but I think we're going to have an indication before this is broken to go ahead and get into sales.
Yeah.
Or like I said, this break here, we may just keep continuing up. But whenever we get divergent off this level and this resistance, we may see a sell kind of right here in this diamond area. But I do agree. I think we see it come down to there.
Yeah.
And then let me backtrack really quick to UJ. There's just one thing I wanted to show on that really quickly. And I'm mainly doing this just in case you guys don't, like, if you want to take some of these markups and add them to your chart so you can kind of watch them. But this is one thing that I'm noticing on UJ. So we have a trend zone coming down here. I actually need to bring it just a hair down. I want to include this touch coming down to here. So we're obviously in a downtrend. If you throw a fib on this, right, we're right on the 618, which is, that's where we want to be. There's no divergence here. When you go down in the 1 hour, there's really nothing clear. So what I think we may see here is price come up to this zone in here, 718, or maybe it consolidates sideways a little bit, but I think we see it come in here before it may finish that pattern, because once it does that, you're going to have, I think you'll see that.
Yeah.
And then
Reversal
it
up.
come down.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for on, because technically we're in a downtrend, and I like to call trades that are with trend if I'm going to counter trend. Now on the 1 hour scalping and stuff, that's why like today long term I wasn't even paying attention to my long term on EU, and I got into a counter trend on a lower time frame. But this is the markup that I'm looking for to play out on UJ. I just wanted to go back to that really quick because I didn't hit on it.
Oh yeah.
So I have similar markups to both of you, but I've actually zeroed in a little more. I like the lower time frames, especially being I'm used to NOS. And
Let,
I'm
let,
already in those UJ buys looking for exactly what Jamal's talking about there. And
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being in those buys either. I don't blame you for being in them.
there's some interesting confluences here with some trend lines as well. Yeah. You want me to show you what I'm
Yeah.
looking at, or
your screen, bro. That's the whole purpose of this.
Yeah.
We're trying to help y'all get better.
yeah, let's do it. So this account I've got, it's a small account. I'm
It
pretty
don't
much
matter.
low.
That don't matter at all.
No, yeah. But I'm trying to train my eyes to see, a little bit more of how y'all view the markets. Um uh just kind of changing a little bit of my trading style. But so can y'all see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So here's like the 4 hour, real similar to Jamal's.
Very clean.
Okay. And then if we come over, we have this trend line down, dot to dot, break and retest. Let's see here. And then on this trend line here, there's just quite a few touches there on the top side.
Yeah.
Underneath, break, retest right here again, and now we're pushing up, right? And so then if we zero in some more, not to mention the sharp fin here,
Mm-hmm.
come in some more, 5 minute, you got continuation divergence off of this trend zone.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of, I've seen this plenty of times where you get a big push off the EMA, so it's going to come through and look just underneath and continue back up,
Mm-hmm.
especially up a huge push up vertical like that. And then if we zero in some more, which the only worry here is you've got continuation divergence for the cells,
Mm-hmm.
but not pretty, so I'm not really stressing that.
Yeah.
So then here in the 1 minute, you've got a breakout of this trend zone. Really need to see this high get taken out to build some confidence in this, or honestly just making sure we don't break this, which if I can make that prettier, something like that. And there's something else. Oh, the simple inverted head and shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my entry was off of this.
Screaming right off that trend line too.
Right.
Yeah. And like there's all of these confluences are right here.
So the
So
only thing,
considering the R to R on just targeting these highs, which really, Jamal, you're talking about it getting up in here, targeting
okay, yeah. So you're targeting, I see what highs. That's what I was going to ask. I thought you were targeting the highs off that main trend zone.
um
You're
well, I
targeting,
am ideally I want to see it come up here. And
right.
I'm running these TPs just because, I'll be
And
going to
that's
sleep.
smart because you're taking them based on, you're taking an entry based on that. You should definitely be taking your profit based on that previous high because it could easily double top and then get right back in the sales.
Yeah, but the R to R is a easy 1 to 2, maybe 1 to 3.
Oh, yeah.
So
No, I
any
agree with that. Everything you have marked up for sure.
And I mean, at the end of the day, you could close out right now all your trades you have open and be at 4.6% profit for the week. I mean, that's amazing. So
right.
hell yeah.
All right. Any other points to make?
What I like is that you've gotten that, down to the laser on the 1 minute. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, that's time frame confluence. That's like when you can go from the daily all the way down to the 1 minute on your setup and have that many confluences on that many time frames. You
You're
have
there. You have everything you need.
yeah, like you got a solid setup and you understand everything that you need for you to be able to print money trading. You just got to have the discipline to use proper lot sizes. Like
Facts.
there's nothing else that you could possibly learn except discipline. Like you know everything you need to know just based off of what you
Right.
showed me on your market.
But exactly. That's what I was gonna say the same thing. Like you don't need, I don't think you need us. You know what I'm saying? It's, and I don't mean that like go away. I mean that as in like you really got it figured out. You just gotta now, I don't know what it is you're still looking for, but just trust your setups and do exactly what you're doing.
And don't over leverage, don't over trade the
Don't over
psychological
leverage.
aspect of things. And
Yep.
that's
Word.
Now the only thing for me personally is like, and Zach can do exactly what you just explained. We can like I can do that. I'm trying to work myself away from having to do that because that requires a lot of maintenance and a lot of managing.
uh-huh.
Right. I just want to find the entry on the 15 minute. Now, if I'm scalping something, like if I'm scalping on the 1 minute or something like that, then I'm not even really looking at my larger time frames, but the zones are there. So if I get close to that zone on a 1 minute while I'm scalping, I'm still going to have my micro structure like you have there, but I'm not analyzing every intraday trade all the way down to that anymore. I'm trying to get more into a intraday to swing trader personally. I want to get into
Less
more
time
just
involved. Yeah.
yes, yes. I for 3 years I've been, so in front of the chart, and I feel like I'm at a point in my career, and I trust myself enough that I can make just as much money, every couple of days. You know what I mean? And there's not a right or wrong way to do that. I'm just saying, like, that's the only reason I don't go that deep anymore.
I feel like that's the point. That's the main reason we all do this is to at some point work our way up to essentially
Exactly.
swing trading because it's less time involved.
Right.
Still can make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And
But
all we
this
do
right
is
here
we
lets
don't
me
do this
know
to be on the charts all day.
this lets me know you have it figured out. Now you just need to figure out what type of trader you want to be, how you want to do it, and go make as much money as you want.
Yep. And
Be balling soon.
another thing too is like, you don't even have to swing trade. Almost all of the signals that we call are off of the 5 minute chart near the market open. And we look at the charts for literally an hour, 2 hours a day, call our trades, hit take profits or stop losses, and then we're done for the rest of the day. Like using that sessions break tool. Um, have you been on a call when we've gone over that?
Um, I feel like I have, but at the same time, majority of y'all's calls I've been on, I've had to multitask.
Okay. So we've got 3 areas, right, for our sessions. I'm going to scroll back because that's over the holidays.
Can't
And
see your
Let me
screen.
let me give you the share back.
okay, there we go. So we'll just zoom in here. Wait, what is this, G? We'll go to UJ because I've called hella trades on UJ the last couple weeks. Fucking love UJ. I don't care what anyone says. It's the easiest trade, the pair you could possibly trade. It's just textbook. Just I don't know. I love it. So here on our sessions indicator, so right here where the brown area starts is where the US session starts,
Right.
and the end of the pink is where the US session ends. This brown area is where the London session and the New York session overlap. During that overlap is when you're going to have the most volatility, and they always hand out moves at that point. So, like this day when I called this trade, we were looking at this zone right here. So, we're only watching the chart during this brown area, which is a 3 hour period. We got our break beneath all of that structure. We got our retest, and I waited for, price to make a nice move away from that level and then called the trade for that. Same thing here in this area. This is, the Holy Grail setup. We broke all of our structure for the last day, got, had a lot of volume, broke all of our previous highs, and it came back from this push and retested our trend line zone with continuation divergence in a major way with a shark fin below the 50. And then boom, catch a buy. So like you can literally just look in this brown area during that crossover for 3 hours and have great trades. None of the
And
trades we're calling are less than a 1 to 2 risk to reward. A lot of them are 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. So you don't even have to spend any time on the charts except 2 3 hours a day.
right. And you don't have to use time frame confluence. Obviously, it's best to like have your zones marked up on a larger time frame. So if you're on the 5 minute for that day, I can see, oh, hey, we're operating right on this daily zone or this 4 hour zone. So I'm going to look for certain patterns near that to confirm either a reversal or patterns that's going to determine continuation. But it's like clockwork every single day. And like I'm so confident in this setup. Like that's why sometimes I don't even look at anything else. I'll just take it because if you have proper risk to reward and you take just that setup every day, like you're going to win way more than you lose.
Yeah.
And if you're managing the losses, like it does not matter because it just happens every single day.
What time frame is that? Not time frame, but what time is that crossover? Is that like 5 to 8 in the
Uh,
morning?
no,
It starts at 7 a.m.
7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
And then
Okay,
8:30,
because
see
the
those
London
bullish
session is at
candles in the
10.
middle?
Okay,
Those three bullish candles in the middle, that's going to be like probably,
you're
are you
9:30.
Eastern?
Yeah, the New York Open.
Right. So that's
Like
8:30.
today was textbook. We got above our 50. Our first retest on the 50 was also a retest on our trend line zone. We didn't really have any continuation divergence here on the 5 minute, but I'm sure there was on the 1 minute. I haven't looked at it, so maybe I'm going to eat my own words there. No,
There
not
is, it's
oh,
not beautiful.
do what now?
So there is, it's just not the prettiest. Like if you go to that point where it broke, like move your crosshair over like literally an inch to the right.
Oh, to the right? Oh yeah,
That point
right
right there. Yeah.
there. Yeah. But if I would have caught that, that's a textbook buy entry that we would have taken. And then, you've got some killer risk to reward. I love trading trendline bounces. We'll get in there and then we'll put it just beneath, just those previous levels over here. And we'll target the previous highs or like a 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2.3, even higher. I mean, obviously it went further, but I'm not trying to get these crazy R to R's. I just want winning trades at a 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 and just stack up those wins. Because
So
go ahead.
um y'all use the fib when you're basing off your entries to determine your stop loss and TPs, correct?
Yeah. Um,
Show
Jamal,
me how you would lay that fib
yeah,
out.
Jamal, I have you do it
Yeah, I can
because
show it really quick.
you have them drawn on your fib. I just draw my fib upside down from my
Yeah,
entry. So I
I'll
think the
show it
way
really
you
quick.
do it is
Um,
easier.
I just changed this. I moved it after today. I moved it up to here, looking at like a 15 minute or an hour time frame one. I wanted to include that wick. But this morning, when I called that EU trade, it was literally based on the same stuff. At this point in time, I didn't really have this information. So I had this marked up and I think I had something else down here. But obviously these bigger zones are my larger time frame. But then when we broke above that and gave me a dojo, I was like, all right, I'm just going to take this, right? Because that happens every single day, just not that one today. And a lot of the pairs on the 5 minute the last couple of days, like during that session, that's just ugly.
Yeah.
During that gray box, it's ugly. But if you go back, before the holidays, I don't even know, this is December 22nd. If you go back before the holidays and you look at like the sessions crossover, you're going to get a lot of clean moves during that gray box there. So, but let me go to up here. I don't have anything on. The way I use the fib, okay, the way I use the fib, let's just look at this example here. And I'll give you like all the points on it. So these are the numbers that I use. I don't know. You can take a screenshot or something, or however you want to get that information. Just let me know when you got it.
And I am recording this too.
Oh, okay, okay. So the way I have it, you know how the fib works, obviously, but the zero green line, this is TP1, TP2, TP3. Okay. The way I use the fib though is obviously right off the 618. The blue lines are where I like to see price for entries. So that's why they're blue. So this is the gray line is always my starting point. The green line is always 100 of that retracement. So this is
So you're
0
running off
to
your low to your high before your entry or high to low if
say
they're
that
looking for
again.
sales. if you're looking for buys, you're running off the previous low to the
Correct.
previous high, or vice versa for sales. I got you.
Correct. So this is point. So see how this is 0 up here?
Right.
It's that way because this is 1, it stands for 100. What the fib is measuring is what percent did price retrace based on the measurement of this move. So if this was a 100-inch move, price retraced 61 inches. Does that make sense? So that's why it's the way that it is. It's measuring how far price retraces back from the measure of this move. So this is a 61% retracement. I like to look for entries inside either there or at the 786. Anywhere in this zone, that's my entry zone. And the way I look at this is these are zones, and then my stop loss zone. So I draw it if I'm going in trend, I draw it from low to high. And then once let's say I determine I want to enter right here, and I put my tool there. And typically, and depending on the setup, most cases I'm targeting TP2. I mean, and look what price does at this level, retest it. We get some resistance right there. And again, look at these as zones, right? They're not necessarily finite. I look at it as like a little zone, but price kind of consolidated right there before it broke, retested right off it and continued. Once I have my entry, I then take my starting point right here from the swing low and I place it where my entry is. So I line this gray line up right on my entry. Okay. And then I take the swing high and I drag it to where I'm taking profit. Does that make sense? What I just did? So I was measuring swing A to swing B. Now I'm measuring my entry to my take profit. And then anywhere in this red zone is going to be my stop loss zone. And on most examples, you'll notice that it lines up behind significant lows. And then I just try to find a 1 to 2 within that zone. And sometimes, like let's say I decided to go right here, that's a 1 to 206, but I may, based on a smaller time frame, decide, oh wait, I can actually probably put my stop like somewhere right in here and get a better risk to reward.
Okay, I gotcha. I'm gonna start using that.
Yep. So again, it's point A to point B. I measure the retracement, and then I go from entry to take profit to determine where my stop loss needs to go.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's gonna help me out pretty solid there because a lot of times I'm looking at just a much bigger trade, I guess, because I'm familiar with much bigger amounts of pips.
Yeah,
With
I'm a big
Forex.
fan of indices as well.
It's a little weird transitioning, but I'm making it work.
Well, I think you can do both.
Yeah.
You can.
My advice, just let him be for a while. Just you know, it's a lot harder to use proper risk management, and indices are a lot more trying on your psychology and your emotions and your ability to exercise discipline. But that's just my opinion. You know how much I love US 30.
Yeah.
It's my side chick. Marina's gonna slap the shit out of me in a second, but you know, it's just not the same as currency. Currency is just easy. It moves so slow. It's so predictable. If you're patient, you can get great risk to reward ratio setups, and you never have to question whether or not you're gonna, put your account in jeopardy trading currency pairs with proper risk management.
Yeah. It's all the same. It's just
It is. It just comes down to discipline. If you can trade it properly, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
But that's the problem for most people.
yeah,
and the bigger the stop loss, which at the same time you're always risking a certain percent, but with indices, you can only run so tight of a stop loss, which means you got to have a bigger account to
yeah.
truly risk properly.
Exactly. And that's like, now if you've got 20, 30 grand of, funny money you can just piss away in the market, this is a different story. But, if you're working with, 2,000, 3,000, $5,000 account, it's the best thing you could do is just leave the indices alone and scale that account and like, really reinforce those good habits.
Noted.
And then Any other pairs or you guys want us to go over questions, comments? I know we got a ton of news coming out this week. We've got some news tomorrow, and then we got a bunch of news Friday. FOMC is Friday. So I think, they're just saving up pips for some kind of crazy move Friday. So I'm excited to see what happens on Friday.
No other pairs?
Um, what are a few of y'all's favorite pairs to trade?
I've got
Currently, the indices UJ, GU, and Euro USD.
Yep, UJ, Euro USD, Euro Aussie, GBP USD, and then we've got US 30 and NAS on here. Like gold and Bitcoin, I just look at those just to, if I'm trying to move money, I need to know where Bitcoin's at. But yeah, those are like the main pairs. We try to keep it simple so we're not bouncing all over the place trying to keep up with 20 different pairs. And you really only need to bother with majors because the US dollar, I preach this a lot. It's the base currency for global trade. No other currency pair is relevant. The only the only currency that matters in any pair is the dollar. Whatever the dollar does, the rest of the planet falls in suit with. And I know that sounds like really arrogant, but it's just how it works.
What
G
world reserve currency?
exactly. It is the only valuable currency. Other currencies have value, but they're all irrelevant in comparison to the dollar. So that's why I only have the Dixie. I don't have just JPY or the Euro dollar or anything. It's just the Dixie because that's all I care to know and learn and understand, and use to correlate to the rest of my trade setups for the pairs that I'm trading that have USD in the front or the back. Like as long as it's one of the base currencies. Euro Aussie is the exception. I just like Euro Aussie because it's just really clean. It's textbook in every way you could imagine. So I always keep that one on there because I've called some pretty solid trades on it. But USD is where it's at for sure. In anything with USD, you start trading all these exotic pairs. They don't respect technical analysis as much. There's a lot more manipulation in there. It's just the wild, wild west. So that's why we tend to just stick to the USD based pairs. And it's
Perfect.
easy to correlate them because, all right, if your bias is long to the dollar, well, any pair that has USD in the beginning of it, you're going to be long biased for. And any pair with USD at the back of it, you're going to be short biased for. So you can analyze the Dixie, see what it's going to do, form your bias, do your markups, and then you can do the same thing for any pair that has USD in the front, and then a reverse analysis for any pair that has USD in the back. And from analyzing one chart, you can get, a setup on one, two, three, four different, pairs just because you're analyzing the Dixie. You can't really do that with others. So
Absolutely. I mean, just getting your analysis on the DXY is going to give you an extra confluence on every other pair with USD in it.
100%. If you're looking at, GU and you're like, man, this thing looks super short, and then you go to the Dixie and the Dixie looks really long, then that just gives you more reassurance that setup's going to play out on GU. Yeah.
And yeah, Jamal just tested your little fib thing on a micro scale with UJ, and that worked out perfectly. That would have been a perfect trade.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Thick.
Dope.
Well,
Yeah, let's see how the market plays out. I think the news is going to help us. I'm still just waiting to see some breakouts in some places personally.
yeah, we're still
I got trigger happy today because I was like, let me call something. But once I went back and looked at the larger time frame, I was like, wait, we literally talked about sales, and here I am buying. Got trigger happy, but I think I need to see some more clarity on a few pairs. I do like UJ though. UJ has moved and been clean, but like we primarily trade the dollar, and a lot of things with the dollar have just been sideways because the Dixie is just yucky.
Yeah, we
GU, EU. I mean, even 30, like 30 looks clean. Let me show this real quick. Like I do really like the way that 30 looks, but I just like it's been in this range. Like you could have just been buying and selling off of this. That's what I've been doing, really, is just scalping this range right here until I get, can y'all see that?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I've just been scalping this range the last 2, 3 days until I get a clear direction of which way this is going to go. Because here's what I see. If you look at the weekly, this is a trend zone here that was broken and now being retested. I'll throw these on there really quick just so we can see where things are. So we're right on top of the 89. So this was been broken and retested. Okay, there's no divergence here with these highs. And we're getting some, we're finding some support off these moving averages. Scroll down to the daily. Obviously, we're on top of the 200 now. That's a lot of support. We're on top of the 200 on the daily and testing this trend line zone that was broken. I don't know what this is. We're in the 618-786 zone from this retrace, from the low to the highest high. But I guess it would probably be more in here because your retracement had already started. Right? This wouldn't really count because at this point your retracement had started. So, but you're still, either way, you're still in that zone. And then when you go down to the 4-hour, we're now below all of these moving averages on a smaller time frame. So everything on the larger time frame looks to be bullish. But on the smaller time frame, I'm below the 200 now. A lot of momentum in a drop that broke some support. And now I've just been hanging out in this resistance. So I've just been up and down in here waiting. Whenever we get to one side or the other, I think we'll get some good opportunities to catch some nice continuation trades. So I'm just kind of chilling right now. We're just waiting.
yeah. We gonna see. We'll see where she is.
We gonna see. Cool. You guys got any other questions? Anybody else? Everyone, I know, feel free to chime in whenever.
Well, the markup on the fib you just did help, so I just need to keep training with it just a little bit more. Where to put it?
Yeah, the fib's a great tool. It's great because it can give you confluence, and then it can give you like precise places to determine take profits and stop losses. So I use it a lot. It's a really good tool to have. Cool. Zach, you got anything else?
No, man, that's it. On my end. No updates to share with the carbon trader. Though we'll be launching that real soon. We got most of the stuff with the mobile version fixed, so that was like the main reason we were holding off on launching it. So there's like 2 more things I want to get dialed in, and then we'll full send it, and then we can trade and mark up in the same place.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I'm gonna stop the recording, and then I'm gonna get this